Okay, we'll go ahead and get started now. Thank you for joining us today here on a beautiful day in the Marin Headlands. We are at the base of Gerbode Valley, where the Trust for Public Land was founded over 45 years ago, and we're honored to be joined today by one of our founders, Huey Johnson. You'll be hearing from him a little bit later, and we're excited to make an announcement about a piece of property that the Trust for Public Land owns a few valleys to the north. And we'll go ahead and get started with Guillermo Rodriguez, California State Director for the Trust for Public Land.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Guillermo Rodriguez. I'm the California State Director for the Trust for Public Land. And you may be asking, why are we out here in the Marin Headlands to talk about a 157-acre property that we own elsewhere? Well, I think the answer is really simple. The Trust for Public Land was founded in 1973, and we had a simple premise: land for people. We work closely with neighbors and the public to help restore and protect natural places before they're gone. And when you think about this valley behind me, that's a perfect example of land for people. And we thought, what better place to have a conversation about protecting a 157-acre former golf course than to look behind us with this amazing, amazing place. Just before we got started, there was a group of kids here and just excited to get out onto the land. Can you imagine if we make that available for them in the San Geronimo Valley? Instead of a golf course, they have an opportunity to connect with nature. We're here today to announce some exciting news and share that with you about the future of Marin San Geronimo Valley. As owners of the 157-acre property, we're expanding a community engagement process today to do three things. First, we're asking the public to help us dream about what new and exciting recreation opportunities can be realized in San Geronimo. Second, we're asking the public to help us preserve the Bay Area's last great salmon run, and also to help us connect over 100,000 acres of protected land from the Golden Gate Bridge all the way to the Point Reyes National Seashore. And three, just as important as recreation and protection of open space, is to make Marin County safer and more resilient from the dangerous wildfires that we know can devastate entire communities. We envision at the end of this community process a San Geronimo Valley property that is protected in perpetuity and managed as a public park that's accessible to everyone. That's land for people. Community engagement has always been at the heart of what the Trust for Public Land does. We've engaged with millions of people all over the country, to protect thousands of acres of projects all over our great country. And that's here true today. Our lasting legacy is the community we build from the projects that we're engaged in. So we're launching a major public invitation to have the public engage with us and help us dream about what the San Geronimo Valley can be, and we're excited about that. We're joined today by parents, fire professionals, and conservationists, all for a common purpose: to protect, to connect, and to restore the San Geronimo Valley. And I thank them and I thank the public for helping us dream about what is possible. Thank you.
We'll now hear from John Gibbs with WRT, a planning and landscape architecture firm.
Great.
Thank you and good morning. I've had the pleasure of working with the Trust for Public Land on a number of assignments over the last decade, and I can say engaging the community is a hallmark of how they go about their work. Trust for Public Land is committed to a community engagement and a listening process moving forward for this property to inform the vision, as Guillermo had described, for how we're moving forward. WRT, as park planners and engagement specialists, will be facilitating that process and reaching out to the broader community. This is what we do. The engagement process will engage a very wide Marin audience moving forward. Now, Of course, this is building upon the work that the Trust for Public Land has been leading over the last year, engaging a number of stakeholders. WRT will be continuing that process in the months ahead, and in the late summer and the fall, rolling out a much larger series of steps. We look forward to many productive conversations in the time ahead. We're pleased to announce a website, reimaginesangeronimo.com, which will be a source of information to the community and a touch point for this process moving forward. Thank you very much.
We'll next hear from Brian McCarthy, a retired Ross Valley Fire Battalion Chief.
Thank you and good morning. I was a firefighter for 40 years in Marin County. The last 4 years of unimaginable devastation from wildfire in California highlights the need to be better prepared and give our local firefighters the facilities, tools needed to prevent and control major wildfires. That's why I am a strong supporter of the project to carve out a section of the San Geronimo Valley Golf Course property for the fire headquarters. This could be accomplished without compensating other uses of the property. As part of the proposal, the Trust for Public Lands has committed to supporting the relocation of the fire headquarters on the property. The move would provide better access for the entire San Geronimo Valley, reduce response times, allow for much needed space the current facility from 1941 cannot provide. Reducing response times, providing modern, safe facilities for the fire station should be a priority for all the valley and the county residents. With the completion of the new fire headquarters station, the old site property could be used for affordable or senior housing if the community is interested in that. The Trust for Public Land is committed to reducing the risk of unwanted fires around the property. They are going above and beyond the local fire ordinances, the state public resource code to reduce vegetation around the adjacent homes. The Trust for Public Land is committed to maintaining the clubhouse parcel to ensure the community's safe refuge area in the event of a disaster or a fire in the valley. This project will provide benefits to the San Geronimo Valley and the greater county by reducing the response times and allowing for the safe and modern fire facility. I want to thank TPL for prioritizing the fire safety of the property and considering the community's benefit of relocating the fire headquarters in alignment with the fire department's facility vision plan and the community's support and safety. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. We'll next hear from Matt Clifford, a water rights specialist for Trout Unlimited.
Good morning and thanks. In case you don't know us, Trout Unlimited is simply the oldest and largest national nonprofit devoted to trout and salmon conservation in the United States. And we are tremendously excited to be partnering with TPL on the aquatic restoration of this particular property, and I'll tell you why. In California, a major focus of our program at TU is the restoration of coho salmon. And coho are a fish that was once, decades ago, the premier native fish of the North Coast area from here on north to the Oregon border, but have since dwindled to the point where they're listed as endangered by both the state and federal governments and are barely hanging on the brink. But as we heard earlier, Lagunitas Creek is actually the last best remaining run of these fish in the Bay Area. This is a stronghold for these fish. And not only that, but this particular property in San Geronimo is ground zero for coho habitat value in that watershed. There's a lot of good spawning going on there now, but what it could be is even bigger and more exciting in a restored state. And there's a long history in this watershed of restoration by local people. A lot of people, including Trout Unlimited, including members of our local Golden Gate chapter, have for decades been investing a lot of work in restoring and trying to help coho in the Lagunitas watershed. And we at TU really see this project as the ability to write the next chapter of that story. the status of this property is open space. It really unties our hands and lets us think big and look at rewilding this river and taking it back to what it really used to be when those runs were thriving. And so it's really a unique opportunity in the center of coho habitat to really do some exciting kind of regional scale restoration. So we're looking forward to working with the local community and the salmon restoration community in the area to coming up with a vision for what that restoration can look like at this property and creating a habitat that will help us bring this run back to what it was decades ago. And we're very excited about doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. We'll next hear from Linda Novi, President of the Marin Conservation League.
Thank you, Brendan and Guillermo. Marin Conservation League was founded in 1934 to protect the environmental assets of Marin County, and that's why we're so supportive of the community process TPL is proposing for the San Geronimo property. We share their conservation-oriented goals so that this property becomes a long-term community and public benefit to our region. And we want to work with TPL to make that happen and your consultants. Our organization believes that conserving these 157 acres now in an era of climate change and species extinction is crucial. This land has the potential of integrating disconnected open spaces to connect native habitat, improving wildlife corridors, and restoring the salmonid population of the area, as we just heard. And having a wildfire defense component to this plan considerably increases the benefits, as does improving the public's ability to visit and appreciate and really get to know this property and the surrounding open space preserves. MCL is enthusiastically behind this future-facing and expanded vision for the property, and we look forward to being a part of making it a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. We'll next hear from Barbara Salzman, President of Marin Audubon Society.
Hi. When I drive out Sir Francis Drake Boulevard and I look at the golf course, I think, gee, this is really out of place in a corridor that provides such a natural ambiance and habitats as you drive along. So my organization has restored more than 1,000 acres and protected more than 1,000 acres of habitat around the bay. And so I look at things as an opportunity to restore what we used to have in terms of habitat and in terms of natural resources. So this process that TPL is introducing is really a unique opportunity for us all to participate and to ensure the restoration potential of this site, which is great. What we would like to say, what our vision is to building on the importance of the stream as coho salmon and steelhead habitat, to do the maximum restoration there, and to expand the habitat for the special status northern spotted owls that are right next door, and to do these aspects in a way that everyone can enjoy. What people often don't see is that when you restore natural resource habitats, what you're really doing is you're not just providing habitat for wildlife, you're providing important resources that benefit all of us. You're providing clean air with the vegetation, you're providing clean water with the vegetation, and you're providing recreational opportunities, as has been mentioned. So we're 100% behind this process, and we look forward to participating as well in making it as wonderful a habitat as we can. Thanks.
We'll next hear from Jean Berensmeyer, a longtime community advocate in San Geronimo Valley.
Thank you for including me in this elite group. I've learned a lot already. At 87, I joined the Valley Salmon as being one of the oldest residents of the San Geronimo Valley. I discovered the valley and its 3,000 residents in 1953 Moved there in 1963 with my husband and son. In 1972, I was stunned to learn about the 61 master plan that envisioned 5,000 homes and 20,000 people. Wise, greedy investors built a golf course in 1963, offering private memberships at $2,000 a pop. My friends and I decided we needed to save the valley, and here's how we did it. In 1972, we helped elect a supervisor who was a third vote to adopt the environmentally sound countywide plan and junk the 61 master plan. We formed a planning group and spent 5 years helping create the first community plan with two major goals: preserve our rural character and protect our natural resources. As a 20-year appointee to the Parks and Open Space Commission, I worked with colleagues to acquire 4 valley open space preserves, going from 0 to over 2,600 acres. 3 of them wrap around the back 9 of the golf course. Imagine the possibilities. In 1997, I chaired the planning group committee to update the community plan. We deliberately included support for the golf course as a stopgap measure to prevent unwanted development. In 2017, over 20 Marin organizations enthusiastically supported the effort by the county and TPL to acquire the golf course for restoration and recreation purposes. Regretfully, that was unsuccessful. But today is a new day. Before us is TPL's wonderful proposal that will connect and restore the heart of the valley in perpetuity, and in that process, work with the community to create a place that brings us together, respects our environment, protects our rural character, and improves our quality of life. I'll do whatever I can to achieve this outcome.
Thank you, Gene. We have 3 more speakers. Next, we'll hear from James Sanders, a local parent in San Geronimo Valley.
All right, thank you for inviting me to be here today. I'm a parent. I have 2 children in the valley, in the Lagunitas School District. I'm also on the school board of the school district. And I do see this, property acquisition as a wonderful opportunity for the kids in the area to expand their educational and recreational activities. It's a very easily accessible property. There's 3 schools that actually are adjacent to this property, and it's been wonderful to see them go birding and hiking and all that through the property, and I'd love to see that opportunity expanded upon. Very happy to hear the Trust for Public Land has launched this expanded community process to include people such as myself to determine best uses for the property as they restore it. Obviously the walking, hiking, and biking trails are great for the youth and adults. I'm also encouraged by the potential of multi-use recreational and community facilities that are envisioned as part of the process. It'll be open to everyone with amenities to be determined by the community. These opportunities don't come along very often, and I'm here to make sure that we don't squander this opportunity to leave our kids and future generations something really wonderful in the San Geronimo Valley.
Thank you, James. We'll next hear from Morgan Patton, also a local parent in San Geronimo Valley.
Hi. As a mother, resident of San Geronimo Valley, and leader of a local environmental organization, the Environmental Action Committee based in Point Reyes Station, I wear many hats when it comes to the future of this property. Our community has a unique opportunity to protect and restore exceptional habitat in San Geronimo Valley. There is a story of community woven into this property. I should say community and hope woven into this property. Jean highlighted the almost 50-year legacy of work protecting San Geronimo Valley from urban development and the role this property has played as a conservation placeholder. We need to recognize that in just 250 years, we have fundamentally altered and destroyed habitat and watersheds in the Bay Area. And globally, the UN just released a report that highlights the significant impacts of human activities on habitats and biodiversity that is responsible for mass species extinction now and in the future. We have to come together to tell a story of our community rising to the challenge to restore our watershed, provide habitat for endangered salmon, remove pesticides and toxins from our environment, and allow public access or visitation for everyone. That is why I'm here. The Trust for Public Land envisions the property protected in perpetuity and managed as a public reserve accessible to all. That's a vision I wholeheartedly embrace, and when this process is complete, we will all be better for it.
Thank you. Our last speaker is a really important figure in the conservation movement in California, Huey Johnson, who was one of the founders of the Trust for Public Land.
Excuse me. I would like to thank everyone who worked to make that golf course a permanent public possibility. And it will be interesting to see what the opposition will say upon reading the paper or whatever. The idea of this place, this county, has had a lot of impact by the Trust for Public Land. And I would like to mention it a bit. We're standing now in one of the large parcels that we acquired, and it was meant to be a 10,000 acre new town, 10,000 house new town. And if the oil company that owned it had its way, we would now be in boats, because they were going to run a river right down to the bay, and it was part of their master plan. And they were going to have high-rises on every one of these hills. And it is well worth looking at the model of that. It's available, usually county building once in a while has it. And I certainly would like to thank TPL for its courage and for changing his mind. There was great uncertainty, and it's with pride that I thank them. And if you go down the beach this way, you go into another 4-mile stretch that Trust for Public Land acquired. And it starts at Bolinas, and it was called the Pole Farm. RCA Corporation, Radio Corporation of America, owned it, and we sweated, and as happens on these projects, got it saved. And there were others as well. But there was about 4 miles of coastline down there around Bolinas and Point Reyes that we were able to save. And to know that young, hard-working, true-believing environmentalists can achieve the kinds of things you achieve today is heartening. To know that it's still going on, and hopefully will be going on for 1,000 years. The work that it's achieved and the importance of its permanence remains for all of us as a task to take on. And I created the Trust for Public Land, and with great luck have lived to see places like this, Marin Headlands, that was to be a new town, so on, put aside along with the golf course and others like it. And anyway, thank you for showing up. Thank you, TPL people, for your good work. God, the tradition continues. So, thank you. I'd like you to meet the president of my organization, Deborah Moskowitz, Source Renewal Institute, and she has an interesting project. We've got some important things going in the way of climate change opposition. We can talk about that another time. Thank you.
Thank you, Huey, and thank you everybody for being here today. This concludes the press conference, and we'll be available for questions afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you all. Really appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much.
You.